Hi, Mike Kennedy, M005 Kennedy with you. I'm starting this new little series where I'm in chronic pain, so I decided, since doctors kind of don't want to deal with pain, it won't deal with pain, won't give you the effective medicines that we know work and we know are safe, that I would try to do some herbal things. Now, I'm not a big believer in herbal medicine because, frankly, everything I've ever bought, save maybe tea tree oil, has never ever worked. So you can tell I'm not a spring chicken. So that probably means I've tried a lot of things and come up empty on just about everything. Well, I've got several books on plant medicine. And besides Peterson's, which is good, I picked up this other one called Backyard Medicine. Now, the problem with books are that they just pass on a lot of information. That's why I'm going to do this series, is they'll say, oh yeah, the Indians used it for this. That doesn't mean they ever tried it. So today we're talking about the plant mullein. Okay? Mullein is this nice little fuzzy plant, which we're going to go out and find here in just a minute. I'm at a Powerline location where I know tons of it grows. And we're going to discuss how great it works for one purpose. And like I say, I'm almost like a non-believer in herbal medicine. So the fact that it works means that it probably does really work. But mullein, they've got a section here, they show the flower heads, they show the leaves, but there was just this little blurb in here that said, oh yes, it works to relieve pain for plantar fasciitis. Now, what's plantar fasciitis? Well, that's some kind of inflammation of these tendons that hitch to your heel or something in your foot. And I'll tell you, it is extremely painful. Extremely painful. And after you sleep at night, you wake up in the morning, and it's very painful then. It's painful when you walk. It's really has limited me a lot. So when I saw this, I said, what the heck, we'll give it a try. At least I'll get a video out of it. But much to my surprise, it actually works. I've been using, say, 1 to 3 mullein leaves. I put them right in my sock so they'll be in contact with my foot. And I wake up in the morning and it's almost pain-free, which is completely different than kind of hobbling out of bed because your feet hurt so much. So I'm really impressed with this, that this really works. And I kind of want to get the word out to other people with plantar fasciitis, or I really would like people with other foot pains to try this remedy too, and report back on this video, because I'm just amazed how well it works. I didn't think it would work, and it did work. So let's go out there. We're going to find some of it. And I'll show you my feet, and I'll put some in my sock, and then you'll know all about it. And hopefully, if you have a foot problem, you'll try it, and then you'll report back in the comments. And my goodness, if it works, share it, or this video, if you know of someone else that has some foot pain, share it with them, and we'll try to get a group of people that say that it works or it doesn't work. I've got a few people already from a Facebook page that are going to be trying it, and like I say, I was just amazed that it worked. So let's go find our mullein. So here we are on the power lines, one of the power lines in Gorham. Now you can see here, this isn't what we call disturbed soil here. We've got things growing everywhere. It's damp. And there's just things springing up everywhere. But we're going to get up to some patches of ground that are more sandy and poorer quality, And that's where we're gonna find our mullein. And there's actually a lot of it growing here. Mullein is a very common plant. I mean, I would say I see it on almost all of my walks that I take. Doesn't grow in dark places, so I don't think you're going to see it in the woods that much. You're going to see it in, you could see it in patches of open, maybe with poor soil, but normally it's more in the open. Okay, now we're in an area where we call classically disturbed soil. You can see the topsoil's been, I don't know, scraped off, worn off, whatever. And this is the type of area where we find mullein. So we'll just keep looking because we're almost there. Here we have our mullein plant. Now what can we say about this for identification purposes? You can see these leaves all come out from the center. I mean, it almost looks like it's could have been a little cabbage there or something or forming, but they're the leaves as they open. And the thing about these leaves is they're really, really fuzzy. They're really, really soft. Now, at first glance, I wanted to doubt this thing about mullein and say, well, yeah, back in the old days, they had bad shoes, so putting this in would have made just a soft place in the shoe. But the leaves kind of fall apart pretty quickly under your foot, so it isn't that at all. And plus, they're not softer than a modern sock is. But now this plant, the leaves are kind of small, so I want to get further on this bigger plants, and I can use just one leaf for my foot because it has to cover my heel area. But mullein plant. I would suggest anyone who's thinking of doing this, if they're not familiar with what mullein is, get a good plant book and learn to identify it. Because what I do is I harvest a number of leaves and then I bring them back, and just like produce, I put them in the refrigerator and use them as I need them. But right in this area I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mullein plants. The seeds heads that come up have thousands and thousands of seeds on them. And this fall I'm going to collect some seeds, and I have some disturbed ground in my yard, and I'm going to plant these. I'm going to get them and broadcast the seeds, and hopefully I'll have some of this growing in my own yard. Because right now, if I could have a choice between this and a vegetable garden, I take the mullein that's removed, you know, getting rid of my foot pain, mostly. Here's a bigger plant here. There's so much bigger plants here. See, these are larger plants, so I'm going to be able to take a single leaf is going to do my foot. So all we're going to do is, you know, cut the leaves at the base here, or you could just pick them. Yeah, you can pick them with your fingernail. The leaves are so soft. But there's hundreds of little hairs on here. But supposedly there's an anti-inflammatory property of this. And, you know, of course, I'm more of a science person, so I kind of like to know what's going on, and I kind of don't with this, but I just know that it works. So I'm just going to have to go with that. There's some chemical in here, because I don't think it has anything to do with the hairs or the softness of the plant, but there's some chemical in here that goes in through the skin and is stopping the pain in my foot. That's as much as I need to do. No, I guess. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to place my heel in here, so my toes are out this way and my heel's here, and then that's how I'm going to wear it, and that's going to make a dramatic difference in my foot pain. So let's try it out here. We just had a slight change of plans. I sat down, and in the time it took me to unlace one of my boots, I had 7 ticks on my pants here. So the ticks in Maine are really bad. And you can get really bad Lyme disease from them, and you don't want that. Left untreated, you can die from it. Left untreated for a length of time, it can do serious damage to your body. Doxycycline is a treatment they normally use to kill it when you first get it, and it works well, but I don't know, if you've had it a long time, they can't undo the damage it's done. But so anyway, I'm going to just gather the leaves and use them at home, and I can show you that there. Now this is the same mullein plant, and you can see I took a number of leaves off of it, and I'm actually going to also do, I kind of believe in some preservation and conservation, the idea that we're not going to try to kill the plant because we want it to reseed, we want to have more of them. Now I have read that mullein root helps back pain, and I have a horrible painful back. So I may be digging some up later, but for now we're working with this foot experiment. So what I'm going to do is try to sustainably harvest mullein leaves. And we're actually going to come back to this plant and some other plants that I take leaves from later in the year as we go along, as I walk these trails. I walk the same places a lot because I like to see the changes in the plants and what new is coming up. And I'm going to kind of keep an eye on this and see how this plant does. If pulling all these leaves off of it hurts it or not, is what I'm saying. Is it still going to flower? I think these are such hardy plants that it's going to have no trouble flowering at all. And it's funny, you can't really see that this is disturbed soil here, but if I was to rake off those leaves, you'd see that there's hardly any topsoil right in this section. The grouping of plants, and here you can see how the soil, there appears to be no topsoil. There's hardly anything growing on this section, but the mullein seems to have no problem. I would assume that the mullein has a deep root, but I'm not sure. It will be interesting later in the process to dig one up. But there are certain times I found with foraging, and I'm sure it probably applies to medicinal plants too, there's times that you use the plants and times that you don't. And if this is a biennial, the first year would be the year to use the root because it's building the root. The second year, it's concentrating on taking all the energy out of the root and the leaves and shooting it up into that flower head. So logic would tell me that the first year roots would be the best to use if I'm going to do the experiment with the back pain. But for now, we're doing the foot, plantar fasciitis. So here we have our harvest of leaves. We're going to put these in the refrigerator. I would thoroughly check the leaves for ticks before you bring them in the house. Ticks are just horrible. You can put them like in an airtight container, and they can survive for a couple months in there with practically no air, no food. They're just ornery little creatures, and the smaller ones, the more dangerous they are, because those are the ones that tend to carry the Lyme disease. So I should have sprayed my pants, especially the legs of my pants, before I came out, and I forgot to do that. But definitely check your leaves before you bring them in the house, because you don't want to bring the ticks in the house. Well, we're back from the hunt. Just to review, mullein leaves come out, they form a rosetta. I'll include some more still photos of them. They're very hairy, very soft to the touch. Actually, one of the uses people use these for is toilet paper. If you have to go out in the woods. I would suggest before you stick something there that you maybe rub it on your skin first at an earlier time and make sure that you're just not allergic to something. That can happen. People can be allergic to anything. But so now I've got a nice collection of these leaves, and like I say, if you want to picture my foot as my hand, this is how I would do it. The toes would be here, my heel would be here, and I'm just going to break off this point here that sticks out from the sock. And you would think, is that uncomfortable having that leaf in there? No, you really can't feel it. It kind of compresses and almost falls apart quite quickly, but the sock keeps it in contact with the skin, and I think that's the only important thing. I always put it the fuzzy side up. I don't know if that makes any difference, but so the fuzzier part, the top of the leaf is hitting my skin. Now, I read something that there's this neat program on you can get for Android or iPhone called eye triage, and they were saying, well, the normal treatment to get rid of plantar fasciitis takes 8 to 18 months. And I read in someone else's notes that doing this for a couple months could cure it. That would be great. But even if it doesn't cure it, if it just removes the pain, I'm being pessimistic again now here. And what I'm going to try to do is, because I don't know how practical it would be to harvest the leaves and freeze them. Maybe if I froze them and interlace them with something, I could take off one at a time, I don't know, and use them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make a salve with these, and I'm torn about how to do it. I've read that somewhere again, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I guess I'm going to follow it because it's not going to make too much difference if it's wrong, if I'm wrong about this. But they said the oil in mullein degrades after a while. So I think whatever I do for a salve is going to be refrigerated. And that will probably mean I'll use something softer to make the salve with. I've got some coconut oil, which is kind of a soft, waxy substance like. I may actually take the leaves and just mince them up and put them in it. I'm not quite sure what to do. I'm also thinking of trying vodka to, alcohol to extract. Vodka, of course, has alcohol and water, to extract whatever's in the leaf and put in a salve too. But I think I'm going to try both approaches because I definitely want to have some of this in the wintertime, access to it, just in case it doesn't take care of it. And like I say, I'm the pessimist about some of these things, but I'm going to continue on trying this and other things because I have plenty of chronic pain to go around, and I will be reporting back. But please take this video I'm really asking you to share so it will get out to people with chronic pain, especially anyone you know that you think could go out and find it, someone that does foraging, hiking, camping, walking in the woods. Any of those people that go out, they could be able to find it easily because it's a very common plant. It's not too hard to find. So please share and please comment on your results at the bottom of this video. Thanks a lot. Mike Kennedy. Bye.